Hi, in this video we're going to go over factoring trinomials with a box. Okay, so your first step is to put ax squared in the left corner of your box and then put c in the left corner of your box. And then find two numbers that multiply to c and add to b. And I should reference that these a, c, and b reference this formula right here. So this is a general form of a trinomial. And then write those numbers in the remaining square with an x or in a variable that is used in the problem. And then use the box to find the factors. All right. So let's talk about what this means. So we've used the box before to factor when we had 4 terms, but we only have 3 terms. So what we're going to do is put our first and last terms in these corners here. And then I'm going to find two numbers that add to 12 so I can split it up. So how I'm going to find those two numbers, I'm going to find two numbers that multiply to my last number, 32, and add to 12. So just think of some options. For example, 1 times 32 is 32. But if I do 1 plus 32, that's 33. So I'm going to cross that off because that doesn't work, obviously. And then try another one. 2 times 16, that's 32. But again, 2 plus 16 is 18. So I'm going to cross that off. That didn't work. Okay, what about 4 times 8? 4 times 8 is 32. And 4 plus 8 is 12. So that fits our criteria. It multiplies to 32 and adds to 12. So I can rewrite this as x squared plus 4x plus 8x plus 32. Now I have my 4 terms that I can now sufficiently use the box. Okay, and so we're just going to do it like before. So I'm going to look at x squared and 4x. And the greatest common factor of x squared and 4x is x. And then I'm going to go up top here. And add what times x gives me x squared? Well, that's x. And then what times x gives me 4x? Well, that's 4. And then I'm coming down here. What times x gives me 8x? That would be plus 8. And 8 plus 4 is 32. So my final answer for my factors are x plus 4 and x plus 8. Okay, let's try this next problem. So we'll start off the same way, p squared and 7. And so we want to find two numbers that multiply to my last number and add to -8. So if I'm thinking just off the top of my head, 7 times 1 is 7. And 7 plus 1 is 8. Not quite, but I am close. So I'm going to cross this off because it didn't work. But what if I made both of them negative? -1 times -7 is 7. And -1 plus -7 equals -8. So that works out. So I can rewrite this as p squared minus 1p minus 7p. That combines to our -8p plus 7. So we can put those in our box. And then we're going to look at the top row. My greatest common factor that I can pull out is p. And p times p gives me p squared. And then from here, what times p gives me negative 7p? Well, that would be negative 7. And what times p gives me negative 1? That would be negative 1. So I can write it as p minus 1 and p minus 7. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So I just put in k squared and 42. So we're finding what multiplies to 42 and adds to negative 13. The first thing I thought of, 6 times 7 is 42. But 6 plus 7 is 13. So that doesn't work out. What about negative 6 times negative 7? That gives me positive 42 when I multiply it. And then negative 6 plus negative 7 is negative 13. That is what I want. So I will put that in my table and then factor it out. So the greatest common factor between k squared and negative 6k is k. And then k times k is k squared. Then k times negative 6 is negative 6k. And k times negative 7 is negative 7k. So these are my factors, k minus 6 and k minus 7. Okay, let's try this last example. Okay, some factors of 24. 2 times 12 is 24, but 2 plus 12 equals 14, so that won't work out. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 plus 8 is 11, so that will work out. So I'm going to write it as 3x and 8x. I'm going to take out x as my greatest common factor, so x times x is x squared. And then x times 3 is 3x. And x times 8 is 8x. So my two factors are x plus 8 and x plus 3. And that's my final answer. If you have any questions on factoring, please contact me. Thank you.